Thanks for joining us today on Polk Salad.
We've started the season and had two great shows.
Great idea. That's smart.
And we've just settled in quite nicely.
Welcome to Polk Salad. It's the month of February, and we have a fabulous show for you today. We'll be talking with three people who are really making such a wonderful impact in our community. We'll be right back. Our first guest this morning is Tom Pessemier. He's our new city manager in Independence. And welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Susan. It's great to be here.
I'm glad you're here. You started working in December, right?
That's right, yeah.
So we've got about 60 days in.
Yes, it doesn't seem like that long, but it is. So
I'll
nice
bet
to be
you've
here.
met loads of people.
I have a lot of great people. So it's been a great opportunity to be here. So
Good. Now, you came to us from Sherwood, and you're still living in Sherwood in a home with 7 acres and cows and chickens and
yeah, we're
bees.
right. Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. We're right between Sherwood and Newburgh, and we've been either in Sherwood, Newburgh, or in between for about the last 25 years. So it's been a great place to grow a family. So
Yeah. Well, you've got a beautiful drive.
It
When you
is.
come to work, you get to go through all sorts of pretty places.
Yes, it's actually very relaxing.
Good.
It's nice.
Good. And you have 4 children, is it?
Correct, 4 children, yeah, ages 10 through 17. 2 boys are my youngest, and 2 girls are my oldest, too. Yeah.
So 17 means senior in high school, maybe.
She's a junior in high
Junior.
school. She's actually doing dual enrollment, so she's
wow.
doing most of her classes at Portland Community College right now.
Oh,
so,
good,
yeah, it's
good.
fun.
So she'll come out with several credits. And
Yes, she will. Yeah,
I think
so,
that's brilliant. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah, it's working
Yeah.
really well for her. So
So now, you're from Oregon.
That's
So
correct.
you're a native. Tell us where you were born, where you've been, and that type of thing.
Sure. Well, my wife won't give me native status because I was actually born in Washington and lived there till I was about 1, and then we moved down to the Springfield area. So she's a native Oregon. She's been in Oregon her whole life, and I've been here for
Close enough.
almost all of my time. So we moved down to the Springfield, Eugene area, and then up to Albany for a number of years. And then when I was about 12, we moved over to Bend, and I lived in Bend for a long time, and until around 25 years ago, I moved to the Portland area to live up here. So
Well, you've picked a pretty state to stay in.
I have, and I've gotten to experience different places in the state too, which is
Good.
really great because they're different, but they're all wonderful.
So as far as education goes, were you in public administration, or what got you into this?
Well, that's a good question, and I think for a lot of city managers, they come from different places. But actually, I graduated with a degree in economics from Oregon State University, but my passion was really engineering. So when I went back to Bend, I worked for a surveying and engineering firm, and then went to Portland State University and got my degree in civil engineering after that. So I actually came up through more of the community development, engineering, planning side of things into city management. So.
That makes you very well-rounded.
It's helped, certainly, because I certainly understand some of the challenges that communities can have, especially when growing communities have. So.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Well, my husband is an economist, and there's enough knowledge in that where you see the broader picture and you see the future a little more easily, and you can read a spreadsheet. So, I mean, there you go. You've got it in the bag.
Yeah, well, in economics, and I think that's, some people love economics, some people hate it in school.
I'm one of those, don't tell.
It's really actually, I think, more about reading graphs and understanding graphs and the hidden meanings in some of the data that's buried in there. So that's very helpful, yeah.
I'm sure. So, as a city manager, tell me what your first 60 days has been like.
It's been really great. A lot of city managers come into challenging situations for whatever reason, and I was really fortunate to come into a situation in a managed city without
Good.
significant issues. David Klein, in particular, the previous city manager, did everything he could to make this a successful
Smooth transition. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
And then everybody has just welcomed me with open arms, and that's I think that's part of rural America that we see
true.
here
It's true.
with great people, and so. And we've got a great staff at the city as well. So all those things made it a very easy transition, and everybody's really working to make that transition smooth and to help me and to be successful as well as the community to be successful. So
The staff. Speaking of the staff, there are several positions that are kind of usually seen in larger cities. You have a economic development and a few other positions that are kind of rare for our area.
Yeah, and we in smaller cities in particular, they'll have economic development when the economy is strong, and then when the economy weakens, they kind of one of the first things to go. And Independence has been really forward-looking and thinking about when the economy's down to double their efforts and make it more robust. And so that's really paid off. And we have one of the best economic development people in the state. I mean, Sean Irvine is a great talent, and so he does more than economic development, to be honest with you. So that helps as well. He's looking, he does community development stuff for us. He's running our transportation system plan update and a bunch of other things. So so he has skills in a lot of different areas, and so I think it's been natural to move like our community engagement person, which we have.
And that's also a position that's kind of on the, I would say it's forward thinking.
Yeah, I would think so, especially for cities our size, and we have a lot of cities that are reaching out to us to try to figure out how we've done that. But we have a great person, Ramon Martinez, in that position right now. He's making great inroads. We really, the Hispanic community is very important.
Yeah.
Our Latino community is very important to Independence, and so he's done a lot of work there, and it's starting to pay off. And we're just getting started. So,
do you know what the percentage of Hispanic population is?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
I think everybody has their own numbers. I think the school district has some great ideas. The students is 42%, so we know we've got a good indicator there. The census puts it closer to 35. So you're looking somewhere in that range somewhere.
Still significant.
Yeah, very significant.
Yeah,
So
good. I'm thinking there was another position, community engagement, downtown coordinator.
Yeah, that's a little bit more common to have someone who's managing your either your Main Streets program, which is really what that technically is. But usually it's not a full-time position. Usually it's somebody who's doing something else, and this person's also doing a lot of our event coordination and other things as well.
Really?
So, yeah. So
good. Yeah. So when you're stretched thin, that's the person you send to the meeting. Or is that?
Well, yes. I have lots of options, actually. So throughout the organization, there's skilled people in a lot of different places.
Good.
So it does make it easy for me. We can move things around.
So are you finding a big picture? Do you see something that's coming up that you're... I know the hotel. Do you want to talk about the hotel a bit? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the hotel. I mean, it's hopefully going to be more history here soon than something. But the hotel and not just hotel, but there's also apartments and townhomes that are coming to that area, and the hotel brings some transient guests in, and Independence, especially the downtown business core, really does well in the summer, but it has a season in the winter where it doesn't get as many people coming in, and that's where the hotel will pay big dividends. And then also the other development there where we have permanent residents will also then be able to feed that area and those businesses as well. So those are going to really work well together. The apartments and townhomes are just coming in for land use, so they're still a little ways out, but yeah, the hotel has gone fantastically well. They're on schedule, actually a little bit ahead of schedule, which is almost unheard of these days.
It's fun to watch it go. It's getting really, really close. Yeah. What's the expected opening?
I think they're still looking for an opening in June is what they're hoping for.'re not taking reservations yet.
Right.
Not as much as we're asking.
Yeah. Come on.
They're all over it, but at the same time, the last thing they want to do is to
make promises they can't keep. Yeah. Sure. That makes sense.
So no, an absolutely exciting addition to to the old area of Independence, and I think will pay dividends for a very, very long time to come. So.
I just love going along the street and seeing all those storefronts filled now. You know,
Yes.
there are some that have been vacant a while, and boom, they're looking good. They're looking great.
They are, and I'm looking for a lot of activity inside those
Yeah.
businesses too, and then that area expanding out. So yeah, it's exciting
Good,
times. Yeah.
good. Okay, now tell us about the park. How can we help with Sunset Park?
Yeah. So
Is it Sunset Park?
yeah, Sunset Meadows Park.
Oh, Sunset Meadows.
Yeah. So well, an exciting opportunity, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
again, this was just some staff members who wanted to do something, and so they made an application to the Trailblazer Moda Assist Program.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grant opportunity where they choose one city in the state to receive monies to have a expansion to a park for people who have needs to be assist.
It's
So-
a great idea.
Yeah.
So the way we can help is to vote for it, isn't
That's
it?
correct.
Isn't that what it is?
It is.
I know Dallas attempted last year, and I think they came in second, but they didn't get the funds. But let's all vote, and we'll put up that website across the screen so you can vote for it at the
Yeah,
website.
February 20th is when the voting starts, and
Okay.
I'm not sure of all the rules yet, but we'll certainly get information out there. But I think you vote every day. And,
That's what I was gonna say,
It goes
yeah.
through March 20th, so
Yeah.
exciting.
So we have a month to hit the button, hit the button, hit the button.
That's right.
That's
So,
good. That's good. So you've brought a lot with you. You've had such experience. What do you think your strongest strength is you're bringing to Independence?
Well, you know, I think probably just the ability to see the bigger picture and to get excited about the long term and things. And Independence has come a long ways. Everybody I talk to talks about how we've come a long ways, and it's very evident. This is a great town. It's a great place to be. But I also see a potential for a lot of areas where we can go so much further.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have this 2040 vision plan, which is really helpful for me and I think for the community, because then we're going to really go out to the community and ask, okay, what's important to you? So it's not about
good.
council or staff or others. It's really going to be about the community telling us these are the things that we want to see in the next
Yeah.
20 years.
Good.
So a lot of that'll get filled in, but I think some of the things that I see is we have a south growth area, and we don't have all the pieces in place for that. So that's my community development background will come in
Okay.
and help us
Okay.
to kind of get that a little bit better organized. We
Good.
have the park. I mean, we have such a amazing asset. I mean, the
Yes.
Willamette River is just
Yes.
something
Steps
that's
away from it. Yeah.
Yes, and so we've got Riverview Park, which has been there for a long time. We've added the Independence Landing Park, which is a great addition. We own 2.5 miles of that river frontage.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and so
Oh.
and we've come up with kind of a master plan, but we really need to think
Oh.
about what components we want to add when, and
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do we even utilize that resource more than
And
we have.
tie it
So,
all in, and
Yeah.
what grants are available to get you to that step.
Yeah.
And yeah, boy, that's a challenge and an opportunity.
It's fun stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
recreation's a great thing, and the more we can do, I think the
Yeah.
better the city
Oregon
becomes.
is very recreation focused, so I think that's a terrific idea. Well, I've enjoyed our time together. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you, Susan.
Okay. We'll be right back. We have Kate Schwarzler with us today. She's from Indy Commons and a local independence gal, and also teaches at Western.
Yes.
So I'm so happy to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for
Because
inviting me.
you are doing innovative things.
Well, good. I enjoy doing innovative things, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So first, we were just talking before. You've got something going on tonight.
Yes, tonight, really excited. We have the Fail Fest coming up. And so this is a project through the Indy Idea Hub. which is the City of Independence received a grant from Business Oregon to help promote entrepreneurism and help kind of assess where are we at with our local entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we've been hosting a series of monthly events, and this one tonight is about failure, because it's something that business owners don't like to talk about typically because it's seen as bad, but actually a lot of innovation can come from failure.
Sure, sure. So, and they're probably learning, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. So
Right, right.
I'm so glad they aren't giving up. I'm glad
Yes.
they're working on it. And
Yes, so we have a lineup of really great speakers who are going to talk about kind of their journey through starting up a business, because a lot of times we see successful businesses and we think, oh, they got there overnight. And so they're going to share their stories about, oh no, we've had lots of ups and downs along the way. So it should be entertaining as well as educational for people.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Will it be at Indy Commons?
It's
or-
actually going to be at the Valkyrie.
Okay.
So a great place.
That's
and
a
actually,
venue, yeah.
yeah.
Got a very large room at the back
Right.
that's very nice.
And Savannah's going to be one of the speakers. She has a really interesting entrepreneurship story herself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So tell me about Indy Commons.
Yeah, I started Indy Commons. It's coming up on 2 years.
Okay.
So I grew up in Alsea, Oregon, a very small kind of rural community, and one of the, unfortunately, one of the things that we often tell people who are products of those small areas in terms of the school system, if you want to have a good job, you have to leave. You're going to have to go away. We're too small to support a lot of business. And so I've always had this interest in kind of more rural economic vitality. And so I looked at Independence, and it just seemed ripe for kind of
Yeah.
setting the stage for this. So looking at that co-working movement where you can provide really affordable and efficient office space for people on basically a monthly membership model, so you don't have to commit to a lot of overhead or an extended lease
Yeah,
as a way
yeah.
of helping to foster that activity.
I can think of several situations where this is the perfect fit. My son-in-law has to travel an hour and a half to Santa Clara
Yes.
for 3 days a
Yes.
week, stay in a hotel,
Right.
and then he works from home the rest of the time with 3 kids under 7.
Right.
So that's not going to get a lot
Yeah.
done.
Yes.
He should be looking for
Yes.
something like yours.
Yeah.
And you have several businesses that are taking advantage of it. Is it 8 you have or so?
I believe it's right around 8 permanent businesses or organizations that are there, and then I also have a lot of flex members that they'll
Right.
come in and out, as it suits them or as they need to. So
Sure.
it fluctuates a little bit, but it's a really great community of people that are working out of the space right now.
Yeah. I saw Paul Evans's. Does
Yes.
he have a spot there?
He
for-
does.
Okay.
He has a desk there. He has now for quite a while, and he uses it to meet with constituents in the area, as well
Sure.
as he hosts some sessions and some classes
Yeah,
out of Indy
yeah.
Commons.
And then last week, you act as a host for events.
yeah.
So last week there was an event in the evening, Maker.
Oh, the Makerspace.
Makerspace.
Yes.
Tell us about that, or do you have anything to do with that? Or did you just provide space?
I pretty much provided the space for it. A big supporter of what CSC is doing in their program, so I've been connected in with them, and so I really enjoy hosting those sorts of activities. It's a great way to bring the community in and help showcase what some of the innovative things that our community is doing. So a group of students from CSC at Henry Hill, they've been making things with 3D printers and vinyl cutters and laser engravers, and so they were doing as sort of an art gallery showing of these are all the
Yeah.
things that they're doing.
Yeah, that's terrific. I think it's terrific. So, in addition to providing a space, you are the queen of encouragement.
Good, good.
I'm
Yes,
thinking
yes.
the first time I heard of you, you were hosting something about food trucks. You were
Yes.
inviting folks in and saying, let's see how you do that here.
Right,
You know,
and
that was cool.
Yeah, some great programs have come through there, through Indy Commons, and really that was one of the visions for starting that as well. So on the one hand, it's the very functional aspect of just office space, but how do you become kind of a community hub for all things business and innovation? And so the Focus on Food event was part of the Indy Idea Hub project, where we kind of got this sense of, boy, there's a lot of people who have been asking about food and how do I start a food-based business, and so we said, well, let's let's kind of throw a party about food and see who comes
Good.
and has some, questions. So it really helps us then assess, is there something more to this?
Is there a need?
Yeah.
Can we get it
Right.
rolling?
Right.
Good. And then they network. They
Correct.
find out this is
Correct.
happening. This is
Right.
potentially
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this? Because I know in your background you have an architecture, a landscape
Yes.
architect.
Yes.
Is what your background was.
Yeah, that is my background. I did that for over 20 years. In fact, I still do that through, I have a
Okay.
consulting company that focuses on that. I love it. I'm really passionate about our natural resources and specifically more kind of on the larger scale. So yeah, when I moved back to Oregon, people were really surprised to what are you doing opening a co-working space? We know you from this other, kind of this other world. It's really a great way, though, to combine my love of business as well as landscape architecture. So to me, it's all about creating a really good, sustainable community. And to do that, you have to have obviously the good physical structure in place. You have to have good jobs. You have to have a good quality of life
Right.
there. So it really does tie back into that landscape architecture and planning component.
So you're going to be you're initiating a lot of stuff and really creating a vibrant community. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm so
Thank you.
impressed.
Thanks.
Your background, you went to school at OSU, is it? Or-
University of Oregon.
I'm sorry. Oh, man, my bad. My bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you lived in Colorado for a while, and
I
while
did.
you were doing that, you got to travel to Abu Dhabi.
I
And
did. I was really
It's pretty
fortunate.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So through landscape architecture work, we
Yeah.
were doing a lot of work in the planning component over there with the cities, and fascinating to see that. Fascinating to see the growth and how they were dealing with that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I wanted to tell the folks how involved you are in other things.
Okay.
Okay, so I have you down as IDA,
Yes. The Independence,
Downtown Association
Correct.
president.
Yes. Yes.
You're involved, I believe, in neighborhood partnerships. Is that
I spoke at their conference.
okay?
Right.
So, and that was recently.
Yes,
And
yes.
what did you talk about there?
Again, kind of about that laying that economic groundwork.
Okay.
Independence really does, they have been very forward thinking in terms of how they're trying to ensure or foster this sustainable kind of downtown or this sustainable business
good.
environment.
Oh,
So
I'm sure your
Yeah.
talk was very popular.
yeah, it was great.
So what about, and you teach at the university, 1-2 classes? How-
I've been teaching about 2 classes every term, centered on business. So anything from just Business 101. This term I'm teaching business and leadership and also
good.
small business marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Boy, that's right up your
I
alley.
know, I know.
That's super. Okay. And I'm trying to think of what you do with the IDA. Do you say IDA?
We do. Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do.
So I see hearts up on the, that is part of
Yes.
your initiative?
That is a fundraiser for IDA.
Okay.
Correct.
So we'll have that up through the month or
Through
just
the month, yep.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Hoppin' Heritage Fest.
Yes, that is something that IDA took on last year for the first time. Hop and Heritage has been going on in Independence for quite a while, for many years. But as a lot of these volunteer organizations, the interest and the energy can go
Right.
up and down just
Right.
depending on the volunteers and the capacity. So IDA said, well, we can help with the planning or help move it forward, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing that again in September.
Good.
Yeah.
And I remember there were those silver trailers, the
Airstreams.
Airstreams
Yeah.
came.
Yes.
And do you think they're coming again?
That's what we've heard, that they do want to come back again in the summer.
Well, why not? It's a fabulous place.
Yes,
Yeah.
they love it. They love it here.
Good. Well, I can see where your go-getiveness, is there such a word, is really pushing independence and our community in
thank you.
general
Yeah.
forward into a really good space. So I'm so happy to have you
Well,
here.
thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. It really is.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And our guest now is Adry Clark. She's in career development, the director here at Western Oregon University. Career development and
service learning and
Service
career
learning.
development. Yeah.
So tell us what is in that title. Tell us what that is.
Yeah. So service learning and career development, it was a way, I believe, back when it was named that and that program was created, was to help students get experience prior to sort of thinking about graduation and graduating and moving out to the workforce. So that was the idea, that they would volunteer and get involved with in the community.
Good.
As part of their college education. And so we call it service learning, but it's really morphed a lot to where now we do civic engagement. So our students are doing alternative breaks, and they're going during winter and spring breaks, and they're going for a week or two as a group to do service.
And you get to accompany them.
I had a chance to accompany the students to India. We went to Tamil Nadu, India. And last December, a year ago, I went to Thailand with them.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
boy.
we went into the hill country and worked with tribes, teaching them English.
Oh,
And
really?
It was a really good experience.
So how long is that period of time?
So we went for 2 weeks. When we go that far away, we go for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you'd have
and that was during winter break. And so these are transformational experiences for
Yes,
students.
yes.
Yes. And
Well, a little closer to home, I know that you place interns at City Hall and Senior Center, maybe. And
well, so we don't specifically place them, but we connect with companies and organizations all over this area, actually all over the country and the world, and they post their internships and jobs on WolfLink, which is powered by Handshake, and so that's a really big way that we do that.
Good.
We also have an experience fair coming up.
Oh,
on
please tell us that.
February 20th. Yeah,
yes.
from 11 to 2 in the Pacific Room. And we have, I think we're going to have 55 organizations.
good.
And those are nonprofits, they're corporations, they're government agencies.
Oh,
And they're
good.
here because they're looking for volunteers and interns. And also they're just passionate about helping students. So they may or may not have specific organizations, but they're here to mentor. A lot of them are alumni.
Good.
And so they're here to build relationships with
what
our
an
students.
opportunity.
It's
That's
a great
awesome.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I know our older daughter had service was part of their, you had to graduate and have done some kind of service activity.
Perfect.
She ended up being a VISTA volunteer in California, and now she runs a program for volunteers in
Yeah.
California. So it's talking about transformation.
Yeah.
That's what
and
it is.
a whole world opened up to her
Yes,
as a result of
yes.
that, and connections and people. So yeah.
Now, you didn't start out in career development.
No.
Tell us your beginnings.
So I grew up in Iceland, and I was there until, I really lived there until I was 24, but I went to the U.S., the United States, as an au pair, as a nanny, when I was 21. And I was in Los Angeles for a few months, and then I was in Chicago for a few months. But when I was in Los Angeles, I met my husband-to-be. And so I went back to Iceland, and there I studied philosophy and ancient literature, and that was my gift to myself. I thought, okay, I know I have to do something practical, but I'm going to study this for 2 years, and and so that was a wonderful thing. And then I decided to be practical and study hotel and restaurant management and come to the United States. And little did I know that nothing's practical to study if you don't like it and if it's not a good fit for you. So it wasn't that practical, but I studied hotel and restaurant management, and I was involved with that for a while, and then I thought I'll do hotel and restaurant design. And that didn't quite work out either, but
Is that where you got into the graphics
you know,
part, or-
yeah. So when I
'Cause
was
that was you are multi-talented.
I like to express myself in different ways. And when I was in the hotel and restaurant management program, I started a newsletter for the department there. And so I learned these desktop publishing tools. And then when I was working a little bit for the restaurant design company, my neighbor had a little graphic design company, and she invited me to join her. And so we ran that together for 3 years. And I did also decorative painting for furniture and things like that. So that was just
Really?
my creative period.
Oh, my
And so I was
goodness.
a little entrepreneur. And
Well, I
doing
knew
that.
you liked to paint, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming it was oils or pastels
Yeah.
or watercolors,
Yeah.
but it was furniture.
Back then it was, and now I do paint just some abstract acrylics
okay.
mostly. But
Acrylics.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good
yeah,
to know.
yeah.
Well, I'd love to see your work sometime.
Sure.
That's fun.
Absolutely.
So you've been able to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to help guide people into a. That's got to be so rewarding.
Yes, it is very rewarding.
Do you keep in touch with some of the students?
I do, especially the ones that I've traveled with. You know, they're kind of lifetime friends and connections, and some of them are going on to the Peace Corps or going on to other different careers, and they check in
Good.
frequently. So,
Good.
so I kind of know what's going on with them.
How nice that is.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you also do yoga and Zumba and, and hiking.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you love the outdoors.
I
and
do.
you
I love the outdoors.
Activities.
I like exercise that's fun and beautiful. So, you know,
Good.
like yoga is a very beautiful expression, music,
sure.
and Zumba is just fun because of the music and the nature.
I have a friend, well, I work with Lulu at the food pantry.
Yeah.
And she's been teaching me Tai Chi.
Oh, wonderful.
That room is so cold, and it's
Oh.
a great exercise to kind of warm up. But
That's another beautiful exercise,
It is. It
isn't it?
really is, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
expand. That's what the whole thing is about.
It's always about expanding and always trying something
transitioning.
new. Yes.
Coming from one and evolving into another.
Yeah.
So I
That's
love
true.
what you're doing.
That's a life theme in a way.
It is. It is. If we're stagnant, it's not a good thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's see what else we have. You have also, you were at a event in Savannah, NSEE, National Society for Experimental Education.
Experiential education.
Experiential. I'm sorry, tell us what you presented a topic.
Yeah. So one of my passion areas is I went for my doctoral degree a few years ago. And even in my master's degree, I've studied the connection between social class and career development. And for my PhD, I studied how the transition from college to career is very much shaped by your social class.
Oh.
And experiential learning especially is impacted because we find out and we get those opportunities through our connections. And our first generation students oftentimes don't have connections. They don't have people telling them what they need to do and how important it is to get experience. And oftentimes they can't afford those kinds of experiences.
It's kind of a safety net to kind of go back to what you know instead of taking that big leap.
Yeah, and they don't even quite know that that's something they need to do. They want to go straight through college and they want to get their degree and then go out. And they don't quite realize that there's a lot of things they need to add to that experience in order to really be ready for that graduation.
So are you proposing more networking opportunities for them?
I'm proposing, and I'm working with a lot of great people on campus, on enhancing access to experiential learning. And we're really talking about how we can integrate it a little bit more. Maybe integrate service learning into some classes, helping students get undergraduate research experiences, helping them study abroad. A lot of them don't realize that that's actually accessible.
Yes,
And
yes.
so how can we as a system, an institution, all kind of band together to encourage that? So.
Boy, that's a terrific idea.
Yeah.
I'll bet that was a popular topic. Was the room packed?
It was packed. It was
I'm
packed.
sure.
And I've done this talk at a lot of different conferences, and it's always kind of an eye-opener because we realize a little bit kind of how our own social class sort of bias influences how we work with students. So it's really important to understand how we're maybe communicating with students and how we could, as a career counselors or higher ed people, how we can influence the system to make it more accessible.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So what would you say, how many students are you seeing that are involved in this? And
Well, so I've done some research on our students, and our students participate at a rate about 30 to 40%.
oh, good.
Which is
Okay.
good, but it's about 15% lower than the national average. And that's just because of our student population and where we're located in rural
Okay,
Oregon.
sure.
So
Yeah.
there's some factors, and we have to be creative in how we overcome some of those factors.
Now, in the time you've been doing what you're doing, have you seen a shift in careers? Like, I was telling you earlier, I'm a home ec major. You know, that didn't give you many options when you graduate. But what would you say is the trend at this time?
So it's interesting about the trend, but the biggest trend really is how careers develop and how major is not as relevant as it used to be. So it's more about how am I developing my strengths? How can I be aware of my strengths? How can I articulate them to other people?
Sure.
And how can I be nimble to take advantage of opportunity? Because careers are changing so fast
Right.
that even if I decide now I'm going to have this career, and sometimes I meet 18-year-olds who are wondering, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And I want to tell them, well, let's just focus on the
Let's
next
get
few
through
years.
school first. And
But being able to be adaptable, be confident, and really understand what you have to offer.
Good.
Because even if you go for that teaching degree, you might average teachers in that position for maybe 5 years. And they move on to
really?
other things.
Sure.
Nurses, a lot of different occupations. People stay in them for more of a limited amount of time, and they transition. And so teaching students and getting them ready for being transition ready for the rest of their lives, that's more the education now.
Right.
And then helping them connect with people.
Okay.
Yeah, so
People
that's
skills,
people
so
skills.
important.
And so we
I bet you
bring in-
spend a lot of time on that.
I do a lot of that,
Yeah.
Every student that comes into our office, no matter who they talk to, they walk away with a connection to another person.
Good.
So
Good.
Kate Schwarzler, who you just talked
Yes,
to, I've referred
yes.
a lot of students to her.
Good.
And big part of our job for everyone in our office is to be part of community committees and
Sure,
things, because
sure.
we are the connectors.
Yes, I love that. I love that. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adry. It was
Yeah.
so nice to talk with
It was
you
nice
today.
to talk to you too.
We'll be right back. Weren't they terrific guests? Gosh, I enjoyed talking with them and learning a little bit more about how they're making such an impact in our community. We had a vibrant set of folks today. You can watch our show on the YouTube channel, Wimpeg channel, MyNet channel 718, and of course our Facebook page, Polk Salad, A Bounty Conversation. Until next time, we'll see you around town. Thank you for joining